sweet to give ourselves an opportunity to just notice the silence that already is. There's the silence we're familiar with, which is the absence of sound, sweet training wheels of silence. But to notice that there's a silence here, as soon as we notice it, how sweet that silence that's not limited to us having to make it so, to us not having to create it, to us not having to construct it. Welcome, loves. There's room over here on the floor, and there's pillows, and there's blankets, and there's legs you can lean up against. I'm sure Mother don't mind. Mhm. Mm. Mm. So sweet that we can just. I love getting human beings together in a space. And I invite you to just notice, if there's any tension in the body, and if you'd like, let that relax. Any tension in the face or in the mouth or in the shoulders. And how sweet we can just be human together. Human beautiful. Human being, yes. Human becoming that too. Mostly when we feel into the humanness of ourselves, what are some of the attributes that come to mind? Our bodies, our emotions, our stories, our genetics, our DNA, our species, art, culture, the evolution of our species, learning, growing, evolving, our spirituality, our faith. What I'm really excited about, that's what this whole Satsang is about, is noticing what's also as natural as our eyebrows or as natural as our nose. If you're Whoopi Goldberg and don't have eyebrows, as natural as our pinky toe, as natural as our chinny chin chins, which is this vast, open, aware, loving intelligence that has never been stuffed into a thought, that has never been stuffed into a concept, that has never been stuffed into a body, that has never been stuffed into an energy body or a spiritual body, that has never been stuffed into a dimension, which dimensions are just points of view, perspectives, never been stuffed into any dimension or density. Totally free already. So with Satsang, the invitation is not to learn about this open, vast intelligence and then learn how to get there. It's about noticing that it's already the case, already. And that doesn't need to be learned. There are many things that we can learn. Hallelujah. And I'm glad we're still learning. So many wonderful things to learn, important things to learn. But when it comes to this, closer than close, beyond the beyond, unbroken intimacy, where intimacy doesn't make any sense. Right? We see it in each other. We notice it so clearly. It's like effortless. Doesn't need to be learned. Doesn't need to be remembered. I appreciate the language of remembering has its place. To want to remember in the realm of ego, someone going somewhere, so beautiful and important. But for fun, the invitation tonight is to not remember anything. Not have to use mind to hold on to anything. Closer than remembering. If something's remembered, it's can be forgotten. This is way closer than a remembering, a putting together of something. This is the noticing, the relaxing as, the resting as the wholeness that you already are. The wholeness that includes the experience of name, of time, of a lifetime, a life stream, that includes all that we perceive, all our senses, that includes all of our concepts, the trend of concepts. Sometimes when we're involved in concepts, we have the innocent concept that those concepts are just how it is. But every concept is subject to change and reevaluation. For example, the concept, I am alive. What an interesting concept. And then because we have such an allegiance to the concept, I am alive, this is what life means. We have the concept of death. This is what death means. Innocent. But who I'm speaking to, just for the sake of this moment, has never been born. Closer than the dance of perception, or the dance of karma, or the dance of causality, the dance of reification. Just what's natural about us. And what I also love about this is that it's just so equally present. This isn't in the realm of wondrous teachings, wondrous unfoldings. You know, religions are but the footprints of where truth once walked. Paths are but the footprints of where truth once walked. But this, equally present, each of us. Not one beloved here with more infinity than the other. Infinite, infinite. So this is the invitation of Satsang. Sat meaning truth in Sanskrit, and Sang from the word Sangha in Sanskrit. Sangha meaning a community of like-hearted beloveds. So it's simply a coming together to notice what's already here and what we don't have to discover, or we don't have to learn or fabricate or fix or heal to get to. We don't have to vibrate at a certain frequency to get to. We don't have to release a certain amount of trauma to get to. We don't have to acquire a certain amount of trauma to get to. We don't have to release a certain amount of chakra closure. Yes, love. Ooh, I love that. I love that end yet.
And yet, it does seem
Yes.
that there is at least the appearance that for some, including myself,
Yes, and if you'd be willing to talk about your experience.
yeah, a certain amount of experience has to be gone through before that I don't how to put it, like, because I know for me, this present aware thing we're speaking of, this ever present thing, has always been there, but I wasn't always aware of it.
Right.
And I my
Yes.
I had to go through a certain amount of trials and tribulations.
Right.
You could call them fires,
Hey.
a and so it's like, no, nothing has to happen, and yet and yet enough has to happen. Enough had to happen for me to be aware of it, like just the perfect amount of things, nothing things, you know,
I
like,
hear you, love. I'm right here with you, baby.
what
I hear you.
I'm saying. So that's all.
Yeah. And isn't it so sweet? So yeah, this isn't the trivial, we're not trivializing. We're not um, you know, brushing aside or not honoring or belittling or, you know, the journey and the adventure and and all that we apparently have signed up for in our lives, all the trials and tribulations, you know. um I've been tried through the fire, but somehow I came out as pure gold. And this is a recognition, the celebration of all of that, and noticing, how sweet all is necessary until it's not. So if you're still involved in your life and you resonate with taking a theta healing class and resonate with going to India or going to Peru or doing ayahuasca or doing iboga or going having this experience, follow that. Yeah, this is life. Everything is life meeting itself. Everything serves. Everything absolutely serves. And then, we get to a point where we start noticing more and more closer. Because at first, before, let's say, the spiritual experience begins, we're solely focused on managing our pain and pleasure, our survival. We are totally ego body, pain body. Everything happens to me. I am, either lucky or unlucky. I am, a victim, or I'm the oppressed, or I'm the oppressor. Uh, Discomfort, I don't want to know anything about discomfort. I just want to displace that shit every moment, every chance I get. Who's going to say something to me? Discomfort displaced. What's going to do? Discomfort displaced. And we're just in this matrix of constantly sorting out positive, negative, neutral, trying to cope. And then we're totally involved in all the ways ego, separation consciousness, fuels itself, fuels its existence. So then we're always indulging in story. And how do we indulge in story? We're in the mind. Oh, next time that person says this, I'm gonna do this. And next time this happens, I'm gonna go here. And then this thing gonna happen, and that's gonna happen. Oh, I'm gonna be the hero of my story. I'm gonna do everything different, and I'm gonna. So we're reifying the sense of separation, innocently indulging. When we're indulging, we're overlooking the total well-being that is the moment. We don't notice every atom in its place. That sounds like crazy talk. We don't notice every thought in its place. Crazy talk. We don't notice every heart in its place, every experience, the immeasurably precious perfection of all that is. Crazy talk. We don't notice. We're so engaged. And if we're not in indulging consciousness, we are in avoidance. Avoidance, we can say, is one of the first senses, the first indications of addictive personalities. Addiction begins with us avoiding whatever's present. It's like, oh no, I don't want this. I don't like this. I needed Netflix. I need some ketamine. I need some this. I need some that. I need an Ambien, Netflix and ketamine. Sometimes everything all at once. And a pizza and a blowjob. I mean, I tell you, all of it at once. So I'm just gonna avoid the shit out of my whole life. Avoid, avoid, avoid. Oh, these thoughts happen. No, I need to avoid that. I need to do something. I need to get away. So this is avoidance. And again, when we're in avoidance, we are reifying the sense of a separate self. It's like, see if you can hear this. To the degree that we imagine ourselves to be something separate is to the degree that we imagine everything else to be separate. So if we're completely identified as a separate thing, our thoughts are separate and scary. Our feelings are monsters. Our energies, other people. Other people. I don't like people. I don't want to be around other people. Can I just skip people? We saw this. There's this really amazing show that I'm totally in love with right now called The Last of Us, and has a very interesting sci-fi premise about cordyceps mushrooms evolving to where they can do what they do to ants, but to people. So it's kind of like we're like mushroom zombies walking around the planet. But there was this one episode. Oh, I don't want to give it away though. But it was, let's say he was a real introvert, and he was so happy that everyone died on the planet because he was all by himself. He's like, yay. If those mushroom people had your hat, you'd never notice. I know. Until they try to make out with you with all that mycelium coming out their mouth. But it's just so wondrous. So yeah, we're avoiding. Can anyone relate? Have you ever indulged? Have you ever avoided? Yes, the human condition, right? And then the third way that we overlook when we're totally involved in separation consciousness, that's really, and all of these have their place. It's not like indulging is bad, drugs are bad. It's not like avoiding is bad. It has had its place in the evolution of our species, but we're discovering, oh, there are other options here. There's another way. And this is why, I spoke earlier about, exploring the demystification of enlightenment during this satsang, this exploration. And this is part of it, the demystification, where it's not just like some lucky break, or all of a sudden you have a halo, or you're shimmering golden, or it's like noticing what's simple, basic, practical. For me, the only reason to ever talk about this and share this and invite the discovery of this is because I know there's nothing more powerful than an available human being. And that's my favorite word, available. I love that. I love that we get to be available. How are we not available? When we're constantly indulging, when we're constantly avoiding, when we're constantly, this is the third way, and these are all from my dear friend Candace O'Denver. I love the way she speaks to this. This woman, Candace O'Denver, I love you, Candace. Dear friend who is now a Dzogchen master, um, known as ZG Rinpoche. And the third way is to replace. Very popular in our spiritual subculture. Again, all of these have their place. It can be very appropriate to be in replacement consciousness as kind of like training wheels, as moving out of certain places, replacing negative thoughts with positive thoughts, a negative story with a positive story. All of that has its place. It's so powerful. But again, there's a moment that you reach a ceiling, because the infinite love that you are wants nothing but the infinite love that you are. The vastness that you are wants nothing but the vastness that you are. Right. 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 Liberation. Yeah. And welcoming and delight. And then, oh my goodness, here you exist as you are, so available, every part of you. And so what's so sweet is that we can notice. So that's like, let's say there's close encounters of the first kind, indulging, close encounters of the second kind, avoiding, close encounters of the third kind, replacing, and then the close encounters of the fourth kind is to allow, allow. So when mind happens, instead of trying to change mind, get rid of mind, medicate mind, numb mind. You just allow it space. It's kind of like discovering that you're also the sky, discovering, oh, I'm okay during a hurricane. I don't need to seek for shelter in a rainstorm. I am the sky. I am your awareness. Feel into your awareness right now. Notice that the whole universe exists only in your awareness. In this room that you're seeing, notice the whole room appearing. There's a gentleman by the name of David Harding, I believe his name is, who speaks to it's called the Headless Way. He was trekking Mount Everest and all of a sudden looked at this gorgeous view and realized that he didn't have a head. He's like, oh, wow, I've never seen my head. I've seen other people's heads. I've never seen mine. I don't trust mirrors. What if I don't have one? And in that moment, full expanse, limitless expanse. You know, it's a sweet thing to feel into, to explore. But awareness, ever present awareness, simple everyday awareness, not the awareness that we've attributed to feelings. A lot of times we'll have an experience of expanded awareness, and then there's feelings because the body's like, oh yeah, I can relax. Or the mind is like, oh yeah, I can relax. Or the nervous system, yeah. And then the body feels good and the body feels peaceful. And then the world feels new and fresh. And we think, oh, this is what awareness is. But awareness is all inclusive. If you are chasing something that appeared new, it's a good clue that it's going to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. This is more simple than anything new. I love realizations, mostly because they come and go. I love spiritual experiences, mostly because they come and go. This more simple, more to me, more precious, more natural, effortless, always here. Yes, beloved.
Say, like, because I'm noticing my experience, like when I walked in, it's something about being around you. It's like, you know, and then I noticed that I was like enjoying the feeling of the spaciousness,
Yes, and
like
that's
it's like.
okay.
But then I was like, okay, there's all these other sensations, but can
Right.
I find awareness? Can I recognize awareness within all of the experiences that are present now?
Ah, so
So
good.
it's not that I'm just attending to sensation, but I'm actually
Right.
attending to the awareness holding, like within the sensation, the awareness that's aware of sensation.
And feel into a moment and relax the word tending.
Right. Just
Just
ising.
ising. I like that.
Is
Ising.
we should collaborate.
Okay. Zipper. Zip it. Yes, yes. Yes, so good. Yeah, awareness as immediate perception. Sometimes when we're looking for awareness, we're looking for a non-conceptual state, and it's like, where the fuck is it? All right, is this it? Is that it? Oh no, I'm thinking, so I can't be aware right now. Oh no, I'm feeling, so I can't be aware right now. Oh no, my knee hurts, so I can't be aware in awareness right now. Oh no, but it's like noticing. You know, at first it seems like there's mind, there's phenomena, and there's awareness, and they're separate, and that has its place, but they're not separate. It's inseparable. Awareness as immediate perception. So awareness as whatever the thought is the perfect, pristine thought. Whatever the feeling is the perfect, pristine feeling. Whatever the sense is the perfect, pristine sense. Especially when we relax our story around it. And it's sweet that we always have that option. Yes, beloved.
This is fancy.
Hey.
So I was telling Clay this in the car. I'm just noticing a lot of just frustration. I've been listening to Jim Newman.
Oh, yay.
And they even sort of like like differentiates like who would even be allowing, or who would even be
Right.
that even in that there's still like a dualism, or like a
Right.
two, like somebody to allow or
Right.
somebody to notice.
Right.
And so what's frustrating is like what he says in his, it's just like there's nothing to be, you can't do it. Like either the self dissolves or it doesn't, but it's not like even trying to allow is still like a seeking for a separate self to allow.
Right.
So I'm just feeling like, oh, there's really nothing. There's nothing to be done, and it's that should be a good thing, but it feels really like hopeless somehow. Of like,
right.
even the resting as awareness is like
Right.
still a doing, or it's still a
Right.
seeking, or it's still like a
Right.
me resting or me
Yeah.
noticing. So
Yeah.
just curious what you have to
Yeah.
say about
Well, I just want to speak to this really quick. So sweet. You know, there's a lot of permission here. There's a lot of permission here. And it's so much more mysterious than anyone could have a thought around, or anyone can say, this is what it is. And it's so sweet to give yourself that permission. And it's like, even as one speaker, you know, because there's every flavor of non-dual speakers and their experience of things, and maybe this worked for one or that worked for another, and it's all just pointers. But it's totally okay if there's a resonance with being in a space of allowing for a little while, or being in a space of imagining what it would feel like, or being in a space of uh, you know, just I'm gonna meditate, or I'm gonna um, it's super sweet to be in that permission and in that gentleness with your own expression, because again, you are infinity delighted in rediscovering itself, and that doesn't look like anything but your experience. It doesn't look like Jim's. It doesn't look like Rupert's. It doesn't look like Ramanas. It doesn't look like Madonna's. It doesn't look like, it's like I put Madonna in that little group. Doesn't look like doesn't look like Trixie Mattel's. Doesn't look like anybody's except yours. And it's okay to see what you resonate with, and see, you know, you're still your infinite self. Even when you're suffering, you're still your infinite self. Even when you're discovering something new, you're still your infinite self. Even when you're frustrated, you're still your infinite self. Even when you're going to listen to Jim Newman and be like, okay, there's nothing here, still your infinite self. Even you're still your infinite self, your wild self, untamed self that no one has ever spoken. No YouTube screen face has ever spoken. No body has ever spoken. No path has ever spoken. It's all attempts and it all fails. Perfectly so. Wild, free, your way, right away at Burger King now. Let him, Michael.
Saying it seems a bit like you know, trying to achieve awareness or achieve enlightenment is like a dog chasing its tail.
Ooh.
But my dog has achieved enlightenment because he caught his tail.
Yay! What a lucky life. So good. Yeah, the moment we look for it innocently, and it's totally okay to do it. It's not like it's bad, but it's like we just overlook. Oh, yeah, like this too. Infinity, infinite rest, like this too. Wholeness, like this too. All inclusive. All inclusive body as it is, all inclusive mind as it is, a sense of, am I aware, am I not aware, all inclusive, all inclusive love.
So every time you mention allowing and welcoming,
Yeah.
my mind always goes to what about where do we make room for the no, our authentic no?
Oh, that's the only way an authentic no can come through, is in allowing and in the willingness and the welcome. All the other no's are in survival mode, are in cause and effect mode, are in pros and cons no's. Oh, hopefully this no means something good. When you are in your presence, when you are available, that no is a roar. That resistance is what changes things. That's the sweetness. So do you hear what I'm saying?
How can we be allowing and welcoming and saying no at the same time? It seems contradictory.
Well, okay. Well, there's mind's version of allowing. So this is really good to recognize the distinction. So mind will take something like a satsang, which is impossible to speak to. We do the best we can with the limitation of language, but it's so challenging to speak to it. Mind will take allowing and think, oh, allow everything, allow the truck that's coming, and allow the splatter that's going to happen, and allow the you know, minds being literal, just how it will take a Bible literally or religion literally. It will take words like this, like allowing. And all we're doing with allowing is we're taking a short moment when we're not standing on the train tracks, taking a short moment when we're not, engaged in something that we really got to pay attention to. It's getting familiar with what already allows, right? So in a moment of, let's say we're home and mine's doing its thing, and it's like, oh wow, in this moment I'm totally fine. My socks match. I got my comfy PJs on, or I'm gonna feel into allowing. I'm gonna allow my mind to be itself. I'm not gonna be at war with my mind. Oh, look how much room there is for mind to wander. Oh my goodness, mind, you were in a cage, in a factory farm your whole life, and in this moment you're in a field of awareness. You can stretch your legs, your wings. Yes, see how big your wings are. Do you want to prance and jump? Oh mind, you are so free. There's so much room for you. Oh body. Oh, in this moment all is safe. I'm not in a protest. I'm not in a It's like in this moment I can experiment, get familiar with allowing. Let's get familiar with allowing my body to be as it is. Oh wow, eyeball, you're so welcome to be exactly as you are. Oh, my internal organs, I have no clue what's going on in there, and I have no clue what's going on in this universe, just as I have no clue what's going on in that universe. There's no separation between the two. But in this moment, you're so allowed. The pains. If there's cancer in a moment, it's of course you go and you see a specialist, or you do the things that you resonate with. But also, you have moments where you allow not to be at war with body. Or you're in a space and you can notice how mind's in a space, be like, oh, look what that person's wearing, or look what that's happening over there. Why didn't they clean up that? Or why didn't they repaint that? Or what's going on over there? What's going on this thing? What this whole, and then this whole, you look at the whole planet, this planet is messed up. This planet, I don't know what's gonna happen. We're not gonna make it. Are we gonna make it? When are the aliens gonna come? When are we gonna do this thing? But take a moment to allow planet Earth, give her a break. Get her off the hook of your parental bullshit, and let this planet be itself. Let this planet have its own growth. Let this planet be the teenager that she is, or whatever, or the a mother, the grandma, whatever. Just so what we're doing is we're relaxing our. We think reality is our mind, and that's just a superimposed assumption that we've yet to question. A lot of us in this room are already questioning, so yay, hallelujah. But we forgot that we made everything up, and we forgot that we made everything up, and we forgot that we made everything up. No matter how many times we call a floor, it never makes it so. No matter how many times we call a fork, or a dingle hopper, it never makes it so. It's just called that, but it's not that. No matter how many times we call our bodies a body, it's just called that. It's not that. This is still God's stuff. This is still consciousness stuff, star stuff, indivisible stuff. So allowing allows mind to open. And when mind is open, then our lives are informed by the wisdom that's always here, the wisdom of our being. And the no's from wisdom, oh, those are beautiful no's. No's that benefit all of humanity, right? They're no's of benefit, resistance of benefit, and has its place in this dream. Yes, love. Oh,
Whenever I have to say no to a situation or whatever, you realize you're actually saying yes to yourself.
yes.
And that has to be a part of it, or else you're not really serving the world the way you should. So
Right.
saying no's is a great thing.
It's so good. It's so good. Yeah.
So,
And
and it's only real if you believe.
okay.
That's
Right. It's only real if you believe. Yeah. And how much permission there? Did you want to share something? Mm-hmm.
I'm a little self-conscious. This is like my 4th time sharing, so this will be my last. But you
it's
just bring it
for
out.
me, it's the first time.
You bring it out in me. You just bring out this like I want to engage. I want to
Yay.
just. It's just I feel such like a passion in myself in a way.
I
Like
so love it.
ah. So I just wanted to hear you speak on. Okay, because in some way, when I listen to you, it's like listening to a prayer.
Aw.
And that's the word I want to ask about, you know, because yes, this is the stuff of God. And yet, the more I am aware of this God stuff that is in me, the more I'm aware of how gloriously important and small my part, and so there's this way that I pray.
Beautiful.
And I guess not to other this God,
Right.
but to acknowledge and know that there's mysterious forces turning the wheels of the whole thing. And I guess I was curious what you might. Well, I want to hear you pray.
I love you so much.
Can I sing a little lyric?
I would love to hear you sing a
Because
little lyric. Oh my goodness.
My friend Jamie Stone, oh God, he did this whole, oh God, he did this whole like series of old songs. This is like an old Appalachian, but it's,
Oh, beautiful.
I want to hear somebody pray. Oh, I want to hear somebody pray. Down in the valley over yonder, I want to hear somebody pray. Yeah.
Thank you for praying. I just felt every cell in my body in total prostration to the gift of that prayer.
Yeah.
So beautiful. And how sweet. I mean, how sweet that there's such space and permission. Prayers forever welcome. Praise forever welcome, even as we open and discover and get really familiar with the inseparability. It's not mind's version of inseparability, it's free. I love prayer and praise and meditation and moments of song and spontaneous art and dancing and moving. That's why I love the word available, because what are we available to? Not just to be like in some vegetative, all is awareness state and there's nothing to do, no one to allow, nothing to be here. And that's all fine too, if that's your shtick, if that's your thing. Awesome. But it's available to the wild deliciousness of this prayer that is all of existence. We only know prayer. Body is a prayer. Follow the lines of your shoulder and your elbow. Be with yourself. The miracle that is this moment, the planets, the audacity of life, of sunshine. I mean, goodness, it's all a prayer. So yes, you pray your prayer, and then how sweet that no one can pray like you pray. And then everyone's prayer is medicine. Everyone's prayer is vitamina, sustenance, nourishment. And goodness, I'm always in prayer. Gratitude is prayer. Thank you is prayer. Recognizing I am at the feet of all of my experiences in life, all the really challenging ones, all the scary ones. I'm at the feet of all of them in prayer, in prostration. And I'm at the feet of mind. I'm at the feet of body. I'm at the feet of humanity. I'm at the feet of the innocence of ignorance, the innocence of othering, the innocence of tribal thinking, the innocence of blame, the innocence of not taking responsibility for your own peace. I'm at the feet, at the feet. All is a prayer. All is a prayer. Mm, thank you. Mm, mm. Ah. Is there a little bit more to that song you can sing? Let's do that. Okay.
So I'll sing a line and then you repeat.
Okay.
I want to hear somebody pray. I want to hear somebody pray. I want to hear somebody pray.
I want to hear somebody pray.
Down in the valley over yonder.
Down in the valley over yonder.
I want to hear somebody pray.
I want to hear somebody pray.
Now I'm going to do two lines together and you repeat.
Okay.
I want to hear somebody pray. Oh, I want to hear somebody pray.
I want to hear somebody pray. Oh, I want to hear somebody pray.
Down in the valley over yonder, I want to hear somebody pray. Down in the valley over yonder, I want to hear somebody pray.
Ah, beautiful.
Did you feel it?
The sweetest. The sweetest. Allowing presence, being prayer, being awareness, being love, being peace, being freedom, being silly, absurd, being human, animal, being divine, being infinite, being focused, being the orgasm, being the puckering of the lips, being all of it, all of it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. A few more minutes. Anything else? Want to share something or explore something?
So normally I take in every word you say, and I'm like, by the end of the satsang, I'm like, cleansed again. And today there's so much like my smart ass, my asshole, my, it's
how
just like
lovely.
here and just like,
So
like,
welcome.
what are you talking about?
Give it to me, baby.
So
What the hell are you talking about, bitch?
I just can't, like, I hate working, and I just can't, like, today was it's such a confrontation of my worth and how I, every day is a measure, and everything I do is like, it doesn't feel, I know I have gifts. I know I'm a lovable person, but it's just like, this is not my jam. And I don't feel I have, my own thing. So I'm creating it. And there's no victim here. It's just doesn't feel, it just feels wonky. And I can't, so I do have a preference for, weekends and sitting in my pajamas with my matching slippers of choice, and and being free and being available to the moment, and crafts and whatever it is, and laughter and play. But then there's this whole other world that just shuts me down, and so I don't know how to be available,
I hear that.
and I don't want to be available to it because I don't like it. And so anyway, it was just, today was a weird day because I got this, I had to get an EKG, and I had to kind of go around the system to get it. So the doctor wrote a prescription that said dysfunctional test, or like, what was it, negative result or abnormal EKG. And it's so sad, but I was like, oh yay, something's wrong with me, so I don't have to work. Like, how sick is that? Oh yay, I have a heart condition. Like, that's how much I hate it and want to avoid the whole topic. And I go into these like moments of freedom and hope in our work, with my work with you, of like, it's going to be okay, there's a place for me. And then I just can't get there. I don't know how to get there. So
Well, love,
yeah.
and for anyone watching this and for anyone here, a lot of times we don't give ourselves permission just to hate the fuck out of something for a moment. Without any thinking that we need to, evolve from it, or that it means we're this or that, or I'm not doing it right. Like, just for a moment, just to be like, fuck that shit. Fuck that whole system. Fuck it. Like, right, like, yeah, really, just be broken and pissed, Why? Who the fuck invented this shit? What stories are we believing? What trend in consciousness are we still, supporting, or whatever it might be? Just like, I don't know what, I don't need to know. And right now, I'm just gonna be total. Ugh.
Well, but it's such a, when I'm responsible for my livelihood, and believe me, I don't have to work. What can I sell? Like, how can I figure this out? I can live in a tiny home, like whatever. But still, there's this like, this like, I can't even support like there's this feeling of like, I don't know, just wasted talent, and then like this like, I don't know. It's just a feeling. There's a reality, I think, or maybe there's not a reality to money, but it feels a tiny bit like those numbers that go down don't feel good,
Right.
I don't know. So it's just a constant like.
Can anyone else relate? Or has anyone else related at one point in your journey, on your experience of life? This is not an I don't know. This is a real thing. This is, yeah, it's so welcome here.
My brother works for a company, and he's so close to retiring, and he needed that job, but his blood pressure, he was starting to have all kinds of health things, and he just quit. Like this month he quit, and it shocked everybody because he was like fighting to have this job, and his blood pressure just like totally went back to normal. And so I just wanted to share that with you.
The benefits of saying to the workplace.
So the topic is demystifying
The demystification of enlightenment.
Right. So it just seems like a lot of the whole idea of becoming enlightened is become something other than what you are.
Right.
Becoming somewhere else that you are not.
Yeah.
And that you have to just be here in who you are, and be aware and accepting and welcoming of what that is, right? Before you can get to what else you can become. Or
well, it's certainly an option. Yeah. It's certainly an option.
It just confuses me.
But isn't it sweet? It's kind of like, if I were to ask you if anyone in here has ever chased enlightenment or still on that journey, What do you think it will give you? If I'm enlightened, that will give me freedom, peace. If I'm enlightened, that will give me freedom. That will give me peace.
You've always been there, whether you thought it or not.
That will give me realization, okay, that I've always been there. And what would realization give you? So enough-ness. If I'm enlightened, that'll give me enough-ness. Yeah. And if you have that realization, I could stop working. Right. So it's like we put so much on this thing called enlightenment. You know, it's going to give me peace. It's going to give me freedom. It's going to give me enoughness. It's going to give me realization. And then for some of us, it's like, if I have those things, maybe I show up as love to people. Maybe I'm kinder to my beloveds. Maybe I'm available to my kids. Maybe I'm available to art. Maybe art can just pour right through me. Maybe I can just paint for the rest of my days. Maybe, you know.
Yeah, I don't always say that I'm enlightened, but when I do, I know I'm not.
Fun. Fun. So very fun. Yes. I mean, enlightened ego is a thing. But yeah, so and then it's like, I love this invitation to question these concepts, you know, enlightenment. So yeah, so you need to be enlightened in order to be at peace now. Is that true? You need to be enlightened in order to be free now. Is that true? You need to be enlightened in order to be enough now. Is that true? It's not, right? We hear it, we're like, oh wow, it's not true. Mind will argue and find all the evidence on the contrary. But if we're really honest, you know, it's like, what do you have to do for this moment to be more of itself? How much more money do you have to make for this moment to be more of itself? This moment, this only moment. The future has never come. Do you want to say something, Jim?
Well, yeah, that I love, the whole thing of the freedom of immediate perception,
Yes.
and that's the perception. And I heard a thing the other day, and it was really great on there is just perception. And the first perception there is of you or self.
Right.
Is I.
Yeah.
And that's immediately. That's here.
And right, nothing.
That's
Everything points to that. That's always at the scene of the crime.
That's right, exactly. So that's the immediate perception. I or this right here of that, anyway. And then from there, then through that I, now you have this whole.
Right. Yeah.
It comes through that immediate perception. This is this immediate perception. There's no other perception happening.
Right. 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 Yeah. 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 And it's
Just immediate.
Immediate.
I could speak to a little bit of the transition piece, because I remember hating my job and thinking of leaving and not wanting to play anymore and all of that. And when I got to this space through working with Ash of allowing, this is where I'm at, I know where I'm heading, I can walk into that club in stress or I can walk into that club in peace. And it really started to shift things for me where that is available, of not loving what you're doing now, but knowing that it's leading you to something greater. Everything shifted for me. My other job began to shift for me. Like I got more clients, the whole world shifted once that resistance kind of let go, by using willing and look forward is my favorite hashtag from him. So just as an offering, willing and look forward. I willing and look forward to go to the club right now and play this event.
Yeah. It's really interesting. I thank you so much for speaking to that, Bodhi. And it's so interesting. We think we hate our work. We think we hate our partners. We think we hate our planet. We think we hate the other. But all we're hating is our own thought about it. Everything is innocent. Work has always been innocent. Our partners have always been innocent. The world has always been innocent. And we put our story on it. And we think it has something to do with them, but we hate that we're so identified as something separate when we're in the presence of that particular thing. It's kind of like, I don't know if you're following this. So if we were to do the work with I hate work, and I'm not asking you to do it right now. If you'd like to, we could do it. Would you like to? Or I could just go through it on my own.
What I do. I hate the confrontation of I have to make it happen. Like the for me, it's so it's just a little
So
different.
that thought, I have to make it happen.
Yeah, the
That's
driver.
a
and we've
scary
talked
ass
about that.
thought. Anyone ever had that thought? I have to
Yeah.
make it happen. And
Like,
it's
oh my
I'm
God,
trying
it's
to make
12 and
$1
I
out of
haven't
15
done blah,
cents.
blah,
What the
blah.
world?
Yeah.
How? Anytime there's how,
Yeah.
it's a good clue that there's going to be terror.
Yeah.
How am I going to do this? How am I supposed to do this? And I think it's Les Brown, who I used to sing with when I was with Here to Hear sometimes. And he's like, how is none of your business? How is never any of your business? So, that could be a really strong thought to question. You have to know how to do it. Is that true?
Well, it's this. If I don't do anything, nothing will happen.
Okay,
That's it,
then
right?
isn't it so sweet?
I
So we
can't
look
just
at
sit
one
around in my
concept after another
pajamas.
concept. If I don't do it, nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah.
If you don't do it, nothing's gonna happen. Look how much you believe. It's like you are a devotee of that concept.
Absolutely, it's
That's
true.
a devotee. It's like, how real are you as a separate self when you believe that thought?
100%.
100%. How real is cause and effect when you believe that thought?
100%.
How real is time when you believe that thought?
All day long.
Right. So matrix, Trinity, all up in here.
yes.
And the matrix. So very cool. So let's question that thought. Y'all willing to question that thought? And then maybe another one will come up and we'll see if another one comes up. There's another underbelly of the other thing. So you need to do it. Is that true? You need to make it happen. Is that true?
Yes.
Yes. And notice where you go for the evidence. Note it all in your mind, only your thoughts,
Yeah.
only your mind. There's no other evidence. Do you need to make this moment happen right now? Just this
No.
moment? Did you need to make that couch happen?
No.
You didn't make your booty on the couch happen? Did you didn't make that breath happen?
No.
No, notice just for a moment. Just notice for real, like real talk. You don't need to make nothing happen for this moment to be here.
No.
Right? Okay, so you need to make it happen. Can you absolutely know with 100% certainty that it's true, that you are the only one that needs to make it happen? Notice where you go for evidence.
Well, I'm going to my fantasy story.
Right. You
that I get discovered.
Notice going into mind. And it's totally okay. Nothing's wrong with that. But it's good to notice what it is we're relying on for our well-being.
Yeah.
So we rely on the fossil fuels as opposed to the clean energy of the moment. And that's okay. We've all been trained to do that. We've all been trained to do
I'm
that.
really stuck in that. I don't know how.
Well, let's explore a little further. So we don't have to go
Yeah.
into a story. And right now, without it, doesn't have to change. We're just being honest and curious right now.
Okay.
Right? How do you react when you believe the thought? It's up to, I'm the only one that, it's only up to me to do it. It won't get done if it's not me. If I don't do it, it won't get done. How do you react when you believe that thought?
Terrible, tense, mean monster.
Terrible, tense, mean monster.com. Yes. How does your body feel? How does your body feel?
Stressed and constricted and
Right.
fiery and yucky.
Yes. How do you see the world when you believe that thought?
Everything's in my way. Nothing's
Right.
everything's fast enough.
How do you see your past when you believe that thought?
Failure.
Failure. How do you see the future when you believe that thought?
I want to go into the fetal position.
Yeah. What would the payoff be for the ego to believe that thought? What
The
does
e-
ego get out of believing that thought?
the eagle.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. The ego, what's the payoff?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's very alive and right and charged and
Right.
powerful and
Right.
mhm,
It gets to still
mhm,
assume that it exists.
mhm, mhm.
hmm Who would you be in this moment? Who would you be in your life, in your shoes, in your bloomers, if you're wearing any? Who would you be in your experience without the thought that I have to do it? It's up to me to do it. It won't get done if I don't do it. Who would you be without that mantra,
Mm.
without that religion?
Not a familiar self.
Feel into it in this moment without your nervous system constantly searching for what you have to do to make something done.
Mm.
What is your nervous system just gets to relax. Yeah,
Yeah, it's hard. I'm not sure what that feels like, honestly.
right. And what's good is that we don't need to know how it
Yeah.
feels. And we could play around for fun with imagining what it might feel like. It's like, wow, if I didn't believe, when we believe a thought, it's kind of like when you get your phone and how many apps do you have on your phone, right? 50, hundreds of apps on your phone. And as soon as you press an app, it covers the whole screen. And that's all you're focused on. It's like that's the only thing that exists is that app. When we believe a thought, it's like putting on those glasses when you look through them and all the world takes on that hue. So it's only up to me, or else it doesn't get done. Everything we look at, we filter through that thought. And that's just torture. Innocent. It's innocent. It's one of the common ones. No such thing. I love how Byron Katie says, no such thing as a new stressful thought. Doesn't matter the culture, doesn't matter the age, doesn't matter the language. We share the same stressful thoughts. We're not just one in divinity and all the yumminess. We're also one in the insanity, inseparable in the absurdity of identification and believing these thoughts. So yeah, just imagine the possibility. Maybe I'm willing to consider, or I am willing to be willing to consider that maybe it's not only up to me. I'm willing to consider, I'm willing to be willing to consider that maybe I don't have to do it all on myself. That's a prayer. Yeah, that's a prayer. I'm willing to be willing that maybe money does just come. I'm willing, and that could be a little heavy for some people. I felt the shift in energy. I'm willing to be willing for other options when it comes to finances. I'm willing to be willing to explore the possibility that maybe the things that I thought were the source of my abundance aren't. I'm willing to be willing that maybe that what if consciousness was the source of all things, including money? What if stillness was the source of all things? What if silence was the source of all things? What if rest? What if ease? I'm willing to be willing to see this differently. I'm willing to be willing to see myself differently. I'm willing to be willing. It's a sweet little gift we can give ourselves. As soon as we aren't so focused and so devoted to the original concept, it was so amazing to me. I don't know how much I laughed and just hit. I took off. I had this sandal. I was in the middle of this boat ride from one part of the Amazon to the other, and it was like, oh my gosh, no concept has ever been true. No thought has ever been true. And I wore these sandals and I was laughing so hard. I was just slapping myself in the face with these sandals. And I had all mud on my face, and I was just like, no thought has ever been true. No concept have ever been true. Ever, 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 ever. I was like, oh my God, it never has ever, ever, ever been true. No matter how many times we think it was, no matter how many millions of people have said it was. It wasn't. It just wasn't. It just wasn't true. It just wasn't. It was just an unsubstantial that can feel very real and that can feel very terrifying. But in the moment of questioning our thoughts can seem very, but all we're doing is we're taking the sweet, innocent concept that thinks it's something solid, and we're just bringing that mist closer to the inexhaustible sunlight of what is. And nothing survives the inexhaustible sunlight that you are. In this moment, as consciousness, you've never worked. You don't know what a job is. In this moment, as consciousness, you've never paid a bill. You don't know what a bill is. And this is not giving permission to everyone to stop working and never pay their bills. Bitches. Stank ass hoes. We're discovering there are other ways to meet that. And so I really thank you for bringing this here tonight, because this is for all of us. This is for all of us. And then, as we continue evolving, we have to reevaluate our concept of work and abundance, especially now with AI appearing, altruism intelligence appearing on the human screen. It's like we have a lot to reevaluate and to reconsider, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing. AI, the only artificial intelligence, is the unquestioned thought. Thought unquestioned. Because consciousness is, intelligence is, and it's blooming and blossoming and appearing in every possible expression to itself, as itself, to itself, as itself. All technologies are but catching up with what already is. What already is. It's like watching the slow motion, poetic expression of the obvious, becoming accustomed to the obvious. I would so love it. Oh my goodness. It's 8:17. I think we're ready for some food. There's some celebrating. Oh, Shannon, happy birthday, love. So exciting. Let's sing a little happy birthday. So whoever has the mic. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Shannon. Happy birthday to you. Yay! Happy birthday, love! Such a joy, such a joy. Oh my goodness. Thank you all so very much for this time together. It has been such a delight, so sweet that we get to confirm in one ahuna. We get to confirm this light. We get to confirm. You're the one ahuna. The one of who? Who? Who is it? So sweet. I just want to just share really quickly. February, end of the month ceremony, Leaf and Divine. I am the vice president of Leaf and Divine. It is such an honor. We got a president here, we got a treasurer here, and everything else, beloved here, and so many beloveds. And plant medicine is one of my favorite permission slips. One of my favorite, where psychedelic meets psychedelic. Poetry meets poetry. As Papaji said once, imaginary medicine for an imaginary disease. If you are identified as a separate self, you're on a big ass trip. That's a psychedelic. When you believe a thought, that isn't true, you're tripping. That's a psychedelic. So sometimes it could be really sweet to meet it with another psychedelic and it let all kinds of things unfold for us to notice what's always here. And then it's like we do the medicine only to discover that we are the medicine. Our life is the medicine. So this is leafandivine.org. Beautiful ayahuasca church. Preparation on point. Integration on point. Volunteers on point. Safety on point. Support on point. Recognizing what's true. Music on point. Hey! So yes, end of the month ceremony in February. And then always last weekend of the month, of every month, we have ceremony. And we're doing something called the Lohawaska in Hawaii, inspired by embodied integration. So it's so sweet that we get to have these 3 days of ceremony, and it's so transformational. It's so powerful for beloveds. And I'm always like, we can do so much more with just 2 extra days. Oh my goodness. While everyone is so, it's like by the time everyone is so melted and in our hearts and just lovey-dovey on everyone, it's like, okay, gotta leave. And I'm like, no, this is where all the fun, good integration and body shit can happen. And so that was the inspiration behind the retreat in Kauai. So grandmother medicine on Grandmother Island, April 12th through the 16th. You can go to myprivateceremony.com to learn more about that, leafandivine.org or ashruiz.com to learn more about that. And that's all I'm going to say right now. I love you all so much. You're welcome to leave a donation in the cookies. There'll be a little blue bowl if you'd like to leave a dollar money donation, or you can go to my Venmo or PayPal. And I love you all so much. Thank you so very much. Aho. Blessings. Blessings. Aho.